Hello, everybody. This is Frank Tomorrow with the End Times Research Ministry, and I'm online today with my assistant Amy Nehme, and we're going to cover some of the news. I'm kind of gimped up for a while, but Amy is getting the news for us together, and we were talking, and instead of posting this particular information, I wanted to share it with you, and it has to do with the Psalm 83 war, one of the wars that hasn't been fulfilled yet. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, in the Old Testament, Psalm 83 shows us the nations that are going to be attacking Israel in the last days. You'll see them on the screen there: Jordan, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, which we are going to discuss because it's very important from today's news. And of course, everybody who's been watching the news knows what's been going on in Syria and Iraq with ISIS. And of course, the Palestinians. So at least now you know who is going to attack Israel. And of course, Israel is going to take a hit, but they are not going to be wiped out. Now, Psalm 83 shows us that the intention of the invading armies that come together as a group or confederate, that's what we are told in the scriptures, they're thinking that they're going to wipe out Israel altogether, and that's simply not going to happen. So now that you know who's involved and what's going to happen in the near future, Amy, can you give me the lowdown on what you just pulled up today?
Yeah, good morning, Frank. There was a horrible, let me scroll down here. There was a horrible attack in Egypt on the Sinai Peninsula. And it was from ISIS, and they killed 64 Egyptian soldiers in the Sinai, 42 in Al Aresh. Now, I'm not sure if you can see my little screen here, but Al Aresh is right here at the very top of the Sinai. And see that tiny little square right there?
Yep.
That's Israel and Gaza.
Right. And of course, the
Right.
scriptures do tell us Gaza, and who's in the Gaza?
The Palestinians.
Yeah, the Palestinians. So the exact people that are pointed out in Psalm 83. Go ahead.
Well, during this attack came right on the heels of a car bomb that happened yesterday in Cairo, and the day before that, they killed that politician. And when they struck, it was pretty bad. See, the attack came as a follow-up to Monday's assassination of Egyptian chief prosecutor.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Now, the reason why we're pointing this out to you in the Sinai is you can see Egypt is a bordering nation of Israel. And if the Lord tells us that all of these nations are going to come, and you see ISIS going into every single one of these nations surrounding Israel, you get a really clear picture of what's going to happen in the near future, because Israel's going to have to defend themselves. There's no question in my mind that ISIS is going to try to hit Israel.
Oh, absolutely not. And immediately after this, I'm going to scroll up here. Here's what they announced. They're vowing now they're going to war with Hamas. Obviously, after that attack in the Sinai was so bad, Israel closed all of its borders, and they moved. They already had their troops stationed up in the Golan and along the northern borders because of what's going on between the Syrian army with Hezbollah fighting there, and then the Syrian rebels are parked in the Golan and they're fighting. And after this came, they shut everything down. They've got everyone on patrol. Their borders are locked up tight. And now ISIS has released a new video where they have declared basically war on Hamas.
Yeah, well, one would have to figure that if they're going to get closer and closer to Israel to try to take her out, they'd have to have that territory. And that's, they're not holding back their plans.
No.
They've told us what they want to do a long time ago.
Exactly, they did. But when you start putting this together with, what was it, 2 days ago, we saw the leaflets that started floating around Jerusalem. And the day before that, they had announced that they had given 1 month for all Christians to be out of Jerusalem. Just Christians was all they said. And ISIS down there in Gaza, we've been seeing a lot of rocket attacks, somewhere in the Golan, but the ones that are coming into Ashkelon right there off Gaza, those are coming from the ISIS group. And they are battling with Hamas down there in Gaza. And sometimes they take the rockets and they shoot them into Israel. They want to engage in a war here. So they're already in there.
Yes. No,
And
there's no question.
but this apparently today is their official declaration of war. And what was interesting to me is, oh yes, the intelligence minister of Israel accused Hamas of partnering with ISIS, which Hamas is denying. But let's look at this. Okay, these are all Muslims that hate Israel, right?
Right?
And if this is an intelligence minister of Israel telling us that they're partnered together, would you believe Hamas or are you going to believe him?
Yeah, really.
You know, they all can make all the declarations they want, but eventually Hamas is going to have to give in and they'll join with them. That's my opinion. I could be wrong.
Either join them or get wiped out like they're doing it everybody else.
That could be. And since we're here, this is going to be on the news post today. I might as well show you. This is from the Institute of the Study of War. And this is how far in 1 year ISIS has come.
And of course, the nations that they're in, they told us that they were going to form a caliphate and then go after Israel. So they're making good on their promise
Yes,
for going
they are. And the other day, that part that we thought, okay, well, there's no way they're going to get part of Russia or China. Obviously, this is when the maps first came out. That's kind of what I was thinking. They just declared an emirate in Russia, which really isn't surprising.
Yeah.
So, but they've gained land in Libya. They've taken over and are battling the Taliban. So they're in Afghanistan, Yemen, Egypt, Kuwait, Russia. This is not just an Iraq-Syria problem anymore. And I really hope that people are starting to see how big this is. This isn't like when we were fighting the Taliban. Because they were all kind of centralized, you know, in the mountain regions there. These people are global.
That's right. So, and not only that, but they're also going into the nations that I point out in Ezekiel chapter 38, Yemen and Libya. And and they'll, of course, that is the second war that will be fought, which is after the Psalm 83. But they're definitely moving into those areas that they said. Now, we don't hear too much in the news about it anymore, about the bombings that supposedly the United States is doing, but apparently it's really not having an effect because even with the bombings, ISIS is moving methodically into every one of these nations that they said that they were going to form a caliphate in.
Well, I just read an article today, too, from the Peshmerga commander over there, and he told the U.S., you guys better finish what you started, or we'll be gone. You can't just come in, drop a few bombs, and leave.
Yeah, no, that's what they've been doing. They're not hitting them hard enough.
No, and here, even more scary, I'm sure that you heard on the news last night, the FBI's issued terror warnings for this weekend from July 4th.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why the FBI did this, but they decided to set up command centers all across our country. And somebody published a map of where the command centers are. And now ISIS has it.
That was brilliant.
And it's all over their Twitter pages. They're passing out that map.
That's brilliant. So is that the extent of the articles that you wanted to share?
Oh, as far as this goes, yeah.
Well, we wanted to do this. Normally we don't. We just post it, and I make videos myself. I thought this is really important. I wanted to get it out as fast as I could. There's no doubt that we're moving in. Number one, we're seeing the movement by ISIS. Number two, they're in the areas surrounding Israel, like the prophecy shows us that those very nations. So when they get into Egypt and the Sinai, you see it there. They're already in with the Palestinians. They're in Syria. They've been in Lebanon, and they're also on the border of Jordan.
Well, let's not forget about Saudi Arabia.
And just recently.
Well, yeah, not just that, but as the Iranian-backed fighters that are there, the rebels, get closer and closer to Saudi, we're starting to see a lot of cross-border stuff. And I have no doubt that ISIS has already got people in Yemen waiting to see, because right now you've got the Houthi youth, which is the Iranian people. You've got the poor people that live there and their government, and then Al Qaeda's come in now to fight them.
Yeah, we're moving in that direction, and we're getting closer and closer to September again, where the feast of the Jewish feasts are.
Yes, we
So,
are.
and we always have a heightened alert around this time of the year because the Lord in His first coming fulfilled the first four of those feasts, and there's three left. So, if He carries on the way He did in the first coming, we may see a huge war break out around that time period in September. So, only God knows, but we're definitely at a heightened alert. But we wanted to share this information with everybody right away. I'm going to post it at my site. We'll post it right away. And then please go to my website and you can download my book today for free there. Amy, you have anything you want to finish with?
No, that's all. Thank you.
All right. We'll talk to you later, Amy.
Finish getting the news up.
All right.